So I must be living under a rock. Sitting here surfing the internet and came across a video that Mike Wolfe from American Pickers has apparently been sentenced to life in prison. I'm sitting here like, what? Never heard this one before. Where have I been? Living under a rock? So I decided, hey, let's go ahead and take a look. Let's break this video down. Now, to be truthful, I did search it in the YouTube and video after video about Mike Wolfe going to prison for life. This is my first time watching it, so I decided, hey, let's just go ahead and put this on the stream and let's take a look at it.
Every one of these people write my check. Every one of them do. I try to spend as much time as I can with them, and if we don't rise to the occasion all the time, I feel like I've failed.
The on set was incredible. I didn't actually work with any stuntmen on the set.
We would love to. We just need the leads. So anybody out there, if you've got any leads for us, you can email us.
Dude, 4.5 years. How do I look, Danny? Hot. I've sat on these things before, but I've never actually ridden one.
The morning of March 12, 2025, numerous major news outlets simultaneously reported Mike Wolfe, the prominent face of the reality television show American Pickers, had been sentenced to life imprisonment.
Yeah, like again, hearing this for the first time, I'm just wondering how somebody of such a popular show could be sentenced to life, and I didn't even hear about it. Had no idea this even was a thing. So I guess examining the video is the only way to get the answer.
The charges sounded like the plot of a high-stakes thriller: transnational artifact smuggling, concealed in evidence related to the death of a renowned historian, and manipulating the antique auction market worth tens of millions of dollars.
Mike, antique smuggling? So he wasn't just doing this in the U.S., because smuggling is taking it from one point to another, right? Usually over country borders or something like that. So is he like going to other countries and retrieving artifacts and bringing them over without the proper paperwork? I don't know, Mike.
To millions of viewers, Mike Wolfe had always embodied the image of a heritage enthusiast traversing across America to rediscover objects that carried the soul of time. But the truth revealed during a 46-day trial painted a different portrait.
46-day trial, man, that was a pretty long trial for smuggling artifacts, right? What was it?
A cold, calculating man with covert ties to clandestine antiquities trafficking rings from the Middle East and Europe.
From the Middle East and Europe? That's quite a jump from going from people's garages and barns and old buildings to now going national or worldwide to smuggle antiquities. That's a really big jump.
The story began on June 17, 2023, when police in Bloomington, Indiana received a call from a neighbor reporting a strange odor emanating from the basement of Professor Harold Clemens's house.
How did they know the odor was coming from the basement?
A retired historian who had taught at the University of Chicago and specialized in Civil War-era artifacts. When authorities broke in, they found Clemens deceased, lying on his back with his right hand clutching a small object, a silver pocket watch engraved with faint but readable words, RK 1887 for honor not glory. At first glance, it seemed to be the natural death of an elderly man living alone.
Well, that would make sense.
But that watch was something that should not have been there.
Why shouldn't it have been there? He was a historian, and they said a Civil War era artifacts, and the date does match up with the Civil War date. So why wouldn't that artifact specifically not be there? Or shouldn't it be there? Okay.
Just a week later, the Savannah National Museum issued an internal memo that was soon leaked. The watch had once been part of the Battlefield Heritage Collection, which had gone missing in 2019 during an unexplained storage transfer.
An unexplained storage transfer? How could you not explain a storage transfer? Isn't that taking objects from one storage to another, but it's unexplained. Let's rewind that really quick. Let's make sure I heard that right.
which had gone missing in 2019 during an unexplained storage transfer.
Okay, so it's an unexplained storage transfer. And this professor got a hold of it. They must have some connections.
The incident had never been made public. The museum feared scandal.
So it's never been made public because they feared a scandal. But wouldn't you want to make it public to have the item returned? A lot of eyeballs knowing it's missing, so a lot of people can be looking for this item if it has a historic significance. That would be a logical thing to do. Now, I'm getting a little suspicious on how things are going in this video. Just the language itself is showing that this is not something that, oh, how should I say it? It's almost like this has an AI feel to it. You know, an unexplained transfer. What? You should be able to explain how you're transferring items from one storage to another, right?
Until the item unexpectedly resurfaced in the hand of a corpse. This information.
Okay, so this item ended up into a professor who passed away. Okay, what does this have to do with Mike Wolfe from American Pickers?
Spread quickly across social media. But what truly caused the situation to explode came from an anonymous Reddit post.
Well, how would it go across the social media if it was made private? They didn't want nobody to know this watch was even missing because they were scared of a scandal, which is silly in the least. And now it's going viral all over social media. That's kind of an awkward situation about a watch.
A user named GearGhost82 created a thread on the antique hoarding subreddit. I swear I saw this exact watch in an unaired episode of American Pickers when Mike visited a farm in Kentucky.
Okay, so Mike visited a farm in Kentucky, and they saw that same watch, but it was unaired. So he probably works for the company, I would guess, or the filming crew or an editor or something. But why would it even matter unless he's going around somehow with his connection stealing historical artifacts during transport and then showing it up on the TV show like he just found it in a barn? That could be a possibility, which will have more logical sense and be pretty clever if you think about it. So if he gets caught, he could just say, "Oh, I found it in this barn. I don't know how it got there." So that is actually pretty smart.
It was in his palm, and he even said, "This watch tells stories." Within 48 hours, dozens of people came forward claiming they had seen the same item on the show, or at least a similar clip that had circulated on YouTube in 2021 but was later removed.
But it was unaired. Usually companies and filming industries, if they have something unaired, they don't want people to see it. So how does a bunch of people have witnesses of seeing this watch if it was never aired? And then how did the video make it on the internet and then later deleted? Who deleted it? Mike, are you posting these videos when you're not supposed to?
Other users added, "I saw it in the display cabinet at Antique Archaeology in Nashville last year. Might be the same one." In
They saw the same watch? Might be the same one? All right, let's break this down. Is it possible that this watch was made by a manufacturing company? Is it possible that this is not the only watch on planet Earth at this particular type and model? See, as a watchmaker, what you want to do is sell as many watches as you can so you can bring in more profit. Just because you've seen the same make and model of a particular item doesn't necessarily mean that he stole this from a museum during their unexplained transport.
July 2023, the FBI quietly opened an investigation, working with the International Antiquities Trafficking Task Force.
There's a trafficking task force? Maybe for drugs and stuff. This is just such a small niche in the world market. Maybe, I don't know. I never heard of anything like this, so we're learning together.
The operation was codenamed Rust Rail, with its primary
Rust Rail?
task force. The operation was codenamed Rust Rail,
Rust Rail. Okay. Go name Rust Rail.
with its primary focus determining whether Mike Wolfe was connected to an illegal interstate and possibly international artifact trading network. One of their early
Yeah, but how does this tie to an international smuggling network? You'd think a watch during the Civil War would be in America, unless the watch somehow traveled internationally. And then who would even known? He could have carried it on the airplane. Nobody, and he's famous, so they would have expected that oh yeah, he just got it from somebody. Would never even think that this is a special artifact that he's smuggling.
leads came from an unreleased History Channel video leaked by a former employee.
Okay, so this episode was actually leaked by an employee.
In the
Okay.
14-minute footage, Mike Wolfe is seen negotiating the purchase of a set of military pocket watches from an unidentified man inside a warehouse near Paducah, Kentucky. By Elgin, yeah, it's an American manufacturer. Mike's voice in the video includes a line. I know this piece went through the hands of an officer.
Okay, so can we see the video? Oh, I hope they play the video.
It definitely has historical value. I won't ask where you got it. What raised further suspicion was that the connection between Harold Clemens and Mike Wolfe wasn't entirely non-existent. In 2017, Clemens made a brief appearance at a televised regional symposium on object history. In his introduction, he made a cryptic remark: some artifacts should never be for sale. They carry pain no amount of money can buy. An internal email from Clemens's computer recovered after his death revealed deeper suspicion.
Well, I can understand some artifacts shouldn't be for sale, like King Tut, things like that. Okay. So, what does this have to do with Mike Wolfe?
Suspicions. In a message to a close friend, he wrote, I believe I've uncovered a chain of illicit transactions originating from a well-known television figure. I'm debating whether to alert the federal authorities. That email was sent 3 days before his death, though police.
So, are they assuming that Mike Wolfe had something to do with a man's passing of old age because of a watch? This is highly circumstantial evidence. I mean, highly circumstantial evidence. The only thing that will get him is that engraving. But if it's a historical artifact, it could also be counterfeits out there too. And Mike probably had a counterfeit. So this could be argued in court too, like, oh, it was just a counterfeit, the one he had. It wasn't the original.
Found no signs of assault. The forensic report indicated a small contusion on the back of Clemens's head.
Well, on the back of his head, probably because he fell, possibly.
Possibly from a fall or from impact before losing consciousness. No one was prosecuted for his death, but from that moment the investigation changed course. Mike Wolfe was officially placed under federal-level special surveillance.
Federal-level special surveillance? Because a man possibly fell and died from age? Okay, I am really getting suspicious about this video now. When I looked it up on YouTube, there was a lot of these, but now I'm really thinking that this is fake. It doesn't make any sense. Why is he under special federal investigation? What led to that investigation?
And that small watch, once a blurry detail, became the spark that forced an entire antiquing empire to face justice. Rust Trail, tracking the objects that never made it on air.
So it's Rust Trail. He said it was rust rail. Maybe the person's misspoke, or it could be a typo for the AI to read off. AI, I tell you, I'm getting really tired of this AI taking over everything because it's not doing a pretty good. It's not doing a very good job right now.
Immediately after the silver pocket watch appeared beside Professor Harold Clemens' body, the federal investigative team began reviewing all aired episodes of American Pickers while also issuing formal requests for internal records from the History Channel.
Yeah, but what is the connection? How did the watch connect Mike to this whole thing? I mean, it's logical to think that a man who does Civil War historical artifacts will have historical artifacts with him. I mean, you think if I was a professor and I did antiques of the Civil War, I won't have anything from the Civil War in my house? That's just silly. You can go online or eBay right now and you could buy up until your little heart's content artifacts from the Civil War because there's just so many of them.
And the
I don't
show's
know.
production company. The FBI quickly discovered something unusual. From 2020,
And here's another thing. Why do you need all the records and video from the History Channel of American Pickers? Surely Mike is a smart person if he's stealing artifacts and then putting them on the show specifically so he doesn't get caught when he resells them, right? But again, why would you start recording? Because if you think about it, they're not going to have all of what they find on the show. They're only going to have a couple of things that are significant or uh, engaging, if that makes any sense. Like, if he finds a really cool old antique doorknob from the 1700s, right? And it's only worth $20 and he buys it for $1, he's going to sell it for $19. They're not going to put it on the show. It's just waste of airspace. He would probably buy it because it's a cool item. I probably would buy it, but I won't be showing it off to the whole world going, oh, look what I bought. Oh, wow, that is really a keeper. So they're just only going to show the best of the best rather than probably all of what they collected.
to 2023, more than 40 items acquired by Mike Wolfe and the show's crew never appeared on television.
Well, here I am just talking about that. It's like, well, yeah. I mean, there's probably 10,000 hours of the show that just was not put into the show, or 10,000 hours of recording time that wasn't put in the show because it's just a lot of it's bad cuts, a lot of it's just useless talking, maybe, or things that are not going to fit in a 35-minute episode or 45-minute episode, however long the episodes are. Because you got commercials you got to put in there. Yeah, so and you could be in a place looking through their stuff for hours and hours. So what are you expecting?
Some had been filmed with basic purchase receipts, but there was no clear record of where they went afterward. Among
Purchases receipts, okay. There's no clear record what happened to him afterwards. Why does that even matter? Maybe he just kept them. Probably has a collection. He probably has a huge warehouse himself storing this stuff just for his own amusement. I met this guy who collects antique toys, and I went into his garage and shelf after shelf. I mean, the shelves are like this, but you had to squeeze through and be careful. I mean, just full of toys. So, people do have collections.
them was the very same fateful pocket watch. The covert investigation was
Wait, what was
codenamed was
that?
the very same. No clear record of where they went afterward. Among them was the very same fateful pocket watch. The covert investigation was codenamed Russ Rail.
Yeah, but how do they know it's the same pocket watch? I'm getting a little confused here because if it wasn't aired, then how is this watch showing up? And could it possibly be that the watch went missing, and then somebody acquired it and maybe passed away or moved, and then the new owners moved in and they just forgot about the watch? Possibly, and then Mike was able to purchase it from another person. Happens quite a bit. There's probably people right now that have their grandparents who pass away going to their house and have historical artifacts that they brought back from, like, I don't know, World War II, and they don't know about it. So, uh, I don't know.
A reference to the path of tracing items buried in warehouses, basements, or perhaps even the underworld layers of the antique market. At first, the investigative team could not directly approach Mike Wolfe. Instead, they quietly trailed one of his backstage assistants, Craig.
Why couldn't they approach Mike Wolfe? Uh, I'm so confused. What is leading to this? It's just this watch that's leading to this huge empire of smuggled goods? I really don't know. This is kind of bizarre. 'Cause that's just one watch would not lead to something like that, because it's just there's so many ways that a lawyer can get out of this and have the case dismissed, that it's just unbelievable that a judge would even say, "Oh yeah, let's just uh go ahead and run with these charges."
Salinas, who had worked as a driver and primary transport handler for the production team. During a surveillance session lasting nearly 6 months, backstage directly approached Mike Wolfe. Instead, they quietly trailed one of his backstage assistants, Craig Salinas, who had worked as a driver and primary transport handler for the production team. During a surveillance session lasting nearly 6 hours in southern
They only trailed him for 6 hours? Still don't see the significance of trailing just.
Missouri, Salinas was recorded driving a van labeled Antique Archaeology to an abandoned warehouse, a location not listed.
All right, let me get this straight. They trailed him, and he's driving the van that has their logo plastered all over it to abandoned warehouse. Okay, maybe they're picking up items that some guys like. Well, it's abandoned warehouse. It's kind of a weird place to go. All right, let's keep going.
Listed in any official filming schedule. Local police were asked to assist by posing as a building safety inspection crew.
Wait a minute. They went around and put flyers so people could tell other people by word of mouth, "Hey, do you got some old antiques or stuff laying around you want to get rid of or cleaned up?" So how would they be put on the schedule if the van just followed them around most of the time, the filming crew, and then it could be because that means the show was pretty faked, or maybe it was a tight schedule and the flyers part was fake. I don't know.
There, they saw a series of sealed wood
There,
as
let's
a
go back.
building safety inspection crew.
So it's abandoned factory. Let me listen to that one more time, just to make sure I'm hearing this right.
Abandoned warehouse, a location not listed in any official filming schedule. Local police were asked to assist by posing as a building safety inspection crew.
A building safety crew, but they're undercover officers to a abandoned factory. Maybe it's just really questionable. Couldn't they just get a search warrant? But again, will a judge give them a search warrant to go into a abandoned factory to check it out? And another thing, it's abandoned. There's no owner. The company's gone. It's just sitting there. Would they need a search warrant to enter? I wouldn't think so. Say, "Oh, we're just checking up for homeless people or making sure there's no dead bodies or anything," would be a better explanation than having, "Oh, we're a building safety inspectors. Yeah, we're just really here to inspect the building for safety, even though it's abandoned and it's not in operation, and probably be knocked down once the state gets tired of staring at it and too many kids going in there and getting themselves hurt."
There, they saw a series of sealed wooden crates containing 18th to 19th century items, including at least 3 objects identified by the FBI as reported stolen from a local museum in Georgia.
Mike? 3 of them? Stolen from a local museum? Mike, are you wearing that black clothes and you have that high tech equipment and you're put the rope on the roof and you come down, spray the stuff, then sit there and go between the laser beams, and then you get to the artifact and you cut the glass, right? And then you open it up and grab the artifact and place another one, like the whole Indiana Jones scene. Wow, Mike. Pretty impressive. Yeah, but wouldn't three artifacts be all over the news that three artifacts came up missing or stolen? So yeah, I would think so.
A major turning point came when the investigation team obtained search warrants for 2 private storage facilities registered under a company called Time Vault Logistics LLC, a shell company in which Mike Wolfe held shares through 3 layers of financial intermediaries. In the first warehouse in Ohio, they discovered more than undocumented antiques ranging from...
Wait, why are you saying warehouse? You said storage facilities. Now we're in a warehouse in Ohio. Yeah, this is really getting suspicious now. It seems like they're changing. So I am thinking this is AI. This has to be AI. But most of the videos on this is just like this.
Civil War-era revolvers and torn handwritten manuscripts to a nearly 1-meter-tall Egyptian deity statue carefully stored in a shockproof container.
So he has ancient artifacts. Yeah, but so? You know, there's these laws that prevent the transportation of ancient artifacts and stuff like that. But there's also the grandfather law, or is it grandfather clause or grandfathered in? And what it means is there was a time where this was perfectly legal. So anybody who possessed any of these items before the law was written have legal custody and ownership of the ancient artifacts. And there's a lot of them. For example, there used to be this thing in America where you can buy a mummy from Egypt and they'll ship these mummies over with still the wrapping, and they'll have a mummy party where they'll open up the mummies to see what kind of little goodies and knickknacks are inside. So you can get this stuff all over. Back then, you could go through America and see people putting these on displays when they have their little home museums. If I remember right, my parents even told me about I had a grandpa or great uncle who had a museum of artifacts in his garage or house or something like that. I'm not sure. It was a long time ago, but he had a museum. So yes, laws change and stuff, but that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you can't have these items still. It just means you can't buy or sell or transport these items from other countries and stuff. But if you already have it, you already have it.
This statue, according to an internal report, matched one stolen from the Luxor Museum, Egypt, in
So it was stolen from Egypt. How are these robberies going? If you think it would hit news because of the whole romance around professional thieves breaking into museums, stealing ancient historical artifacts, that would be what I would assume would be all over the news. I really don't know. Maybe there's a lot of artifacts missing from museums. They probably don't even know they're gone yet.
2011. Following the money trail, the FBI found that Mike Wolfe owned at least 5 small companies incorporated in tax havens such as Malta and the Cayman Islands. From 2016 to...
Okay, so he's just being a smart investor and making sure that all of his money isn't placed in one particular spot. A lot of people do that. They'll take all of their money. When you have a lot of money, you don't want it in one bank. What happens when the bank goes bankrupt? Your money is completely gone. So they'll have this money in different banks and different currencies in different markets in different countries just to protect their assets if something goes wrong, especially if you're running a billion-dollar business and all of your money is in one bank and that bank goes bankrupt. Now you have zero. Where do you get your running costs to keep your business running so you can recover? So you just have this money spread all over the place for your own safety and protection, even for your companies.
2023, Nearly $4.7 million USD had been moved between these companies through antique transactions, but none involved certified appraisers or reputable auction houses.
You're right, because he's going to people's houses. If there was a law like that, then all these artifacts would just become useless. The value of them would just skyrocket how much it costs to bring in an appraiser. Then you have to take it to an auction house. Then you have to let the person you want to sell it buy it. But now he has to give a percentage on top of that to the auctioneers and stuff. This doesn't make any sense. Things are old. Trying to control everything is going to lead to these items being long gone and swept away. It's more hassle than what it's worth, especially if these items are not don't have a very high value, but yet you still have to go through all of this. No, that's just silly. You can buy this stuff on eBay. I don't need an auctioneer to tell me and appraise it. It's just dumb.
Notably, a Swiss bank account under Wolfe's name had received a $150,000 wire transfer from an individual linked to the underground antique market in Aleppo, Syria.
Okay, so he's being linked to somebody that's in the game. Okay, okay. Now we're getting somewhere. We're 8 minutes in this video, and now we're finally getting somewhere where there is a connection to him into these black market trades.
Once accused of being a transit point for looted cultural artifacts during wartime. What stunned investigators was how Mike organized the entire operation. No official team member was responsible for transporting goods after filming. Everything was handed off to a third party with contracts signed through virtual fax apps and payments made in cash or cryptocurrency. The logistics coordinator was a man of Eastern European descent, his real name unknown but saved in Mike's messages under the alias Memon.
Memon? Well, if his identity's unknown, then how do they know they got him from? It almost seems like Mike had something that some high powerful government or person in maybe Congress or super billionaire wanted, and he just didn't want to sell it, so they just came up with this crazy stuff. I don't know. This is getting really suspicious now. It doesn't make sense. I've been watching ancient stuff for a long time, and this is by far one of the craziest things I'm hearing. Because I still don't have a link to, well, I guess the statue from Egypt that was stolen, but how do you link it back to Mike? Except some purchases and stuff that you don't have any information about.
From November 2023, the FBI decided to infiltrate the network by approaching an antique shop previously visited by Wolfe in New Mexico. An unofficial meeting between an undercover agent and Mike took place on the night of December 3rd. In an audio recording later leaked during the trial, Mike is heard saying, "Not every item should be on TV. Some things are meant for those who truly understand their value, not the audience." Shortly
Wait a minute, but earlier you said that he said this on an unaired episode. Now he's saying this to an undercover agent, meeting him at a museum, but he's just visiting a museum. What is his particular purpose? I want some more detail because there's no details into this, and it's just like so circumstantial that I don't see any jury gonna sit there like, oh yeah, he's definitely guilty of maybe possessing stolen property.
after this meeting, the FBI executed emergency searches at 3 locations connected to antique archaeology, including a secret warehouse in North Nashville.
How is it connected if it's secret? Or is this the abandoned warehouse they were talking about? But why would they need a search warrant when you earlier previously said that they already went in there acting like they're inspectors and found this items? And this is what started opening up the case with the evidence. But now you have a search warrant to go back. I thought you would have already claimed this stuff during the first time you were in there. But you just saw it, took pictures, and walked out? That doesn't make any sense.
There they uncovered the List 17, a handwritten coded document listing artifacts alongside symbols, black market prices, and transaction dates. Next to the list was a personal notebook belonging to Mike with a penciled line that read, "They will never understand. This is about heritage, not money." But heritage cannot be an excuse to break the law.
Well, you probably put that in there so just in case the police find it, they'll think that he's not here to make money, but here to preserve history. But still, that doesn't make any sense because it's all over place. There's really no pattern to this right now. Of course, we're only 9 minutes in, and it's a 20-minute video. So hopefully they'll give a little bit more detail. And then after this video, we're just going to go ahead and just look this up because this is getting really crazy right now. I'm really highly suspicious that all of these videos that I've seen about this popping up in my suggestions are all AI or somebody just making up something just to get clicks so they can get the advertisement revenue just to make some money. And so they just pick famous people and then they come up with these outlandish, crazy, wild stories that makes people like me click on it. But the difference is I'm breaking them down and analyzing them and seeing if they're true or not. And then I like to go look it up. So this is something fun. It's like a hobby. Oh, okay, this is happening. What? I haven't heard of this. And then I'll later look it up. So let's continue. Let's see how this goes.
And with that much evidence, from undocumented artifacts, shady accounts to notes indicating concealment, Mike Wolfe was officially named the prime suspect in what could become the biggest scandal in the history of American reality television.
So they named him as a suspect now to receiving and distributing. No, he's just receiving. There's no proof that he's selling these artifacts, right? So smuggling and possession of stolen property, historical significance, or is it just old antiques?
A tense trial and the verdict for Mike followed. On January 9, 2025, the federal trial of Mike Wolfe officially commenced in Chicago.
A federal trial. Ah, he's playing at the big boys. Okay. If only the white van with his name all over it didn't go to the warehouse, he would be a free man. You know, some of us can't be smart, but some of us just do dumb things like, hey, guys, I'm here. You would think he would use a van that didn't have his name on it, or a car, truck, preferably a truck or something that will not lead back to him in this warehouse. I would assume he has the resources to be able to take stolen items and rob museums. He will also have the resources to cover his van with his name all over it.
Though security was tight. Reporters crowded outside the courthouse. Many people held signs reading, "Free Mike."
Yeah, I don't remember none of this. Have not seen it. Again, I must be living under a rock because surely I would have seen this blowing up on the news feeds, the internet. Every YouTuber will be making a video about this as fast and as quick as possible. You know, I'm laying in the game, but I would at least heard something.
Still believing this was all a misunderstanding. But what was revealed inside the courtroom left most in silence.
Left in silence. Oh man. Mike, what evidence are they presenting? What have you been doing when nobody's been looking? Hmm?
The 39-page indictment listed 6 main charges, including illegal transportation of antiquities,
Okay.
international trafficking of cultural heritage, tax
Okay.
evasion, obstruction of justice, money
Mhm.
laundering, and indirectly concealing evidence in a suspicious death.
Wait, hold on. Just rewind that. Make sure I heard that right.
Justice, money laundering, and indirectly concealing evidence in a suspicious death.
Indirectly concealing evidence in a death. What? Is that even such a crime? For one, for two, what was he concealing? Wasn't it ruled that he probably just fell and hit his head as he stopped living? So why would he be charged with it? Okay, this cannot be real. And tax evasion? Is it because he didn't pay taxes on the transportation of his illegal items across international borders? Is it tax evasion because he sold some of these items and didn't file his taxes on ancient Egyptian statue dated sold for this much? Here's my taxes. This has to be fake. This doesn't make sense.
The proposed sentence: life imprisonment without the possibility of parole.
But for what? Life imprisonment? People do billion-dollar Ponzi schemes and don't even get that much time without parole. I mean, what do you think he's out? Is he like shooting guards up or something? I mean, what is he doing to get a life sentence without parole? He's just transporting and indirectly covering up a suspicious death. First, you got to prove that the death was deliberate and not natural. It's just, yeah, this has to be fake. Come on.
The prosecutor opened with a series of images and clips from never-before-aired videos in which Mike Wolfe appeared negotiating shady deals at locations not officially documented in the show. One of them showed Mike handing cash to a Syrian man in a Detroit garage in exchange for a small box containing unverified Roman coins.
Okay, this is fake. So, if you people don't know, you can go on eBay right now and find ancient Roman coins for sale all over the place. They're a dime a dozen. I even had a couple before, and I was shocked when they're like, "Oh yeah, they're real." I'm like, "Yes, money, money. I give you $2 for one, this one, but the rest I don't want." Uh, Huh? Like, yeah, these aren't worth anything. There's so many of them, they're not very valuable. So, and they're unverified. What does that even mean, unverified? You have to have them verified before you can purchase it? Let's listen to that one more time. It's just to make sure I heard it right.
Detroit garage in exchange for a small box containing unverified Roman coins. The garage in
Let's go
show.
back a little bit more.
One of them showed Mike handing cash to a Syrian man in a
A Syrian man. Why is that relevant? Syrian man, Roman coins.
Detroit garage in exchange for a small box containing unverified Roman coins. The prosecutor described it not as collecting but as a commercial model built on illegality disguised through the lens of television. A major blow to Mike's defense came from the testimony of Frank Fritz, Mike's former companion during many of the show's early seasons. After
Oh yeah, he has a partner, so he was there most of the time, right? Wait a minute. Why isn't he under suspicion? Why isn't he going to this trial? If he was his business partner, wouldn't they link him up too?
stepping away from the show, Frank agreed to be a witness, and his words silenced the courtroom. He said, "We had once promised to only collect what was legal. But as time went on, everything changed. Mike became obsessed with things no one else had. He said, to keep the show alive, we have to dig deeper, both."
No, you don't. Keep the show alive. I watched it just for something small and stupid. No. People are like, oh, this would be interested if maybe I have something in my garage. What do you think we watched it for? We like watching a couple of grown men digging through other people's old stuff? No, it was because a lot of people were like, do I have anything? Hopefully, what I have shows up on this show. Maybe it's worth some money. Because believe it or not, things used to be worth money that are today no longer worth any money due to the internet. Before, these hard to find items were a high value, but now that you have the internet, there's so many of them, the value went, and there's so many of them, you're just, what do you do with it? You just hold on to it, I guess.
literally and figuratively. Frank carefully recalled an incident in 2021 when they acquired a wartime diary in Arkansas. Mike later took it away, and no one knew where it went.
A wartime diary. Again, you can go on eBay and get Civil War diaries. Most soldiers wrote a diary back then. It's probably not so important now. And I'm just saying Civil War. He doesn't say where that journal is from, so journal could be from anything, but why does it matter about the journal? Is there something in particular that this journal of wartime talks about? Or significant to a certain person? I don't know.
But weeks later, Frank saw a copy of that very same diary on the black market.
Frankie's on the black market? How does he know it was on the black market unless him himself is on the black market? He's putting himself into the fire in front of the firing squad now. By mentioning, oh yeah, I was surfing on the black market and I saw a copy of that same journal. Ooh, but what does it matter? you don't have to, you could just sell it, right? You don't need a black market. Black market is mostly for those really specialized items, aren't they? I don't know. I'm getting a little confused. The black market seems to be like a normal everyday thing now, or normal everyday items rather than a high specialized items.
Priced at 15 times more.
50 times more? What? If that be the case, then everybody who has some kind of artifact will be selling it on the black market because they can make 15 times more money when they have the legal ability to sell it. You think black market means I could sell it for more money? I must be missing something. I've really been living under a rock because usually items like that are not going to be at these extreme high price that you can buy it at an auction for 15 times less. Must be a special journal. Well, a copy of a special journal. Or maybe there was some information in there leading to some buried treasure. But then that wouldn't make sense either, because why wouldn't Mike just go look for the treasure himself? And he could have just made a spin-off show about finding the treasure.
The defense team offered little direct rebuttal to the physical evidence. Instead, they focused on portraying Mike as someone caught in a system he could not control, claiming
He has all this money and his defense doesn't do anything? I'm not a lawyer, and I think I can come up with a lot of things that can potentially put a reasonable doubt in the jury's minds.
all transactions were handled by the logistics team argued that Mike was a lover of antiques, not a mastermind. They claimed the suspicious funds were legitimate.
What did they say?
Antiques were handled by the logistics team argued that Mike
The logistics team? Wouldn't it be the lawyer or the defense's team? I don't know.
was a lover of antiques, not a mastermind. They claimed the suspicious funds were legitimate income from private foreign collections, and the Swiss account was a lawful savings account.
Yeah, that a lot of people do that. You know, if you want to save your money in a safe place, you want to put them in different accounts in different parts of the world. War breaks out, you could lose everything. So you got to just protect whatever asset you got by just spreading your assets around. And there's an old saying that you don't put all of your eggs into one basket. What a lot of wise people do is they put their eggs in different baskets.
From private foreign collections, and the Swiss account was a lawful savings account. Mike Wolfe remained silent for nearly the entire duration of the trial. His income from private foreign collections, and the Swiss account was a lawful savings account. Mike Wolfe remained silent for nearly the entire duration of the trial. His gaze was somber, devoid of emotion.
Would you want to put emotions? The bro basket, essential basket there, something. Your friends at Har. Help us get ready for Black Friday. What? Happy Pie. 20% off on workflow automation. Code something. Optimal workshop, the optimal average. Healthcare.gov, Remy. Need help selecting a plan for 2020. Talk wine shop. What? Moon Rabbit? New and delicious Moon Rabbit. I am so confused. This just has to be stock photos that are just slapping together to make a video more engaging. But more likely, it's just causing, or the majority of these are just being more distracting than anything.
On day 31 of the trial, when asked if he wished to speak to the jury, Mike stood, looked straight at them, and said, "I never saw myself as a criminal. I just wanted to save what others had thrown away. If that makes me guilty, I accept it." That shocking statement was quoted across headlines.
But well, maybe federal courts run a little bit differently than any court I've ever seen. I I really don't know, maybe.
Dividing public opinion between admiration and condemnation. On sentencing day, the judge took just over 4 minutes to read the verdict.
Wait, what did I just say? On sentencing day.
On sentencing day, The judge took just over 4 minutes to read the verdict.
The judge took just over 4 minutes to read the verdict. Why is that relevant on how long it takes to read a verdict? Wasn't there like 6 main charges for count? One.
Based on the volume of evidence, the level of organization, and the resulting consequences, particularly the concealment of artifacts from international cultural theft, the court sentenced Mike Wolfe to life in prison without parole and terminated all ownership rights related to the show and the
But you can't terminate the rights to a show based upon a judgment. It doesn't make any sense. They're called rights, not a privilege. So how could he terminate a right when now you're saying it's a privilege? Like that's like NSYNC. NSYNC was owned by that Ponzi scheme guy, right? And they couldn't take it from him. So NSYNC broke up. Well, obviously, unless you change your name, but that's just your downfall anyways. They couldn't take it away from him. That's just a name.
antique archaeology brand. In the gallery, an elderly man broke down in tears. He had been a devoted fan of the show for a decade. On social media,
An internal email. Howard Clemens. I believe I've uncovered a chain of illicit transactions originating from a well-known television figure. I'm debating whether to alert the federal authorities.
fan pages that once praised Mike began to disappear or shift to in memoriam status. But a larger question still lingered. If Mike was the ringleader, then who were the people behind him? The empire collapsed, and aftershocks followed.
If he's the ringleader, it just looks like he's buying. There was no selling, but yet he's receiving money. But there's no proof he sold anything. And a life in prison without parole, that is just a ridiculous sentence. I don't believe none of this. There are people who robbed actual museums and got caught with diamonds and stuff like that, and they never even got life in prison. They're all out now. They made movies about them. I don't. No. No, I don't believe none of this.
Just 3 days after Mike Wolfe was sentenced, History Channel officially announced the cancellation of American Pickers and removed all related content from its streaming platforms.
Of course you have to cancel the show. He's in prison. On this episode of American Pickers, where you bring your artifacts to the jail cell. And then what's Mike doing? He's looking at it through bars and windows on the phone, like, oh yeah, well, that's a really nice piece. Yeah, I'm thinking I only can give you $35 for it. Come on.
The one
Actually, I would probably watch it. I'm not gonna lie, that sounds pretty cool right now.
once massively followed YouTube channel silently deleted old videos. The website
Wait, what?
once massively followed YouTube related content from its streaming platforms. The once massively followed YouTube channel silently deleted old videos.
What deleted old videos? Mike's old videos? Whose YouTube channel? Mike's YouTube channel? That I don't know. No
The
information.
website of Antique Archaeology switched to a blank interface with only one sentence. Temporarily suspended.
Temporarily suspended? Why?
A name once embedded in American television culture vanished so quickly it felt almost as if it had never existed. The FBI sealed off both showroom locations in Iowa and Tennessee.
Wait.
The FBI sealed off both showroom locations in Iowa and Tennessee.
Showroom locations? He had 2 showrooms? They sealed them off? For what? Yeah, this sounds really highly this is so suspicious. I can't even wrap my brain around it. I'm like, well, That's like, oh, I'm taking your house away because you stole a diamond earring, and we're sealing everything off. This doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. I do not get this.
which Mike had once called sacred spaces for lovers of the past. The secret warehouse in northern Nashville, once used as a collection hub for artifacts, was transferred to the Heritage Management Bureau.
I thought you said the warehouse was abandoned. Why didn't they just take everything out of the warehouse and transport it and give it the pieces back to the original owners?
Inventory lasting nearly a month revealed numerous items with falsified documents, unclear provenance, and worse, some were confirmed to be religious relics originating from conflict zones such as Iraq, Syria, and Yemen.
What? Okay. So he's transporting from. I don't believe it. I'm not buying this at all. They would have used that in the trial. I didn't hear nothing until afterwards, and now they're like, "Oh, guess what we found?" Someone's not doing their job until now, unless he was just a scapegoat for a bigger operation to take everything away from him because somebody wanted something. It's my best guess.
Among them was a marble carving believed to have belonged to an Ottoman royal tomb stolen in 2003.
That's big and heavy. Now he must have some connections.
The antiquities auction market entered a temporary freeze. Major houses like Sotheby's and Christie's issued statements reviewing all transactions indirectly linked to Mike Wolfe.
Indirectly linking to Mike. Again, this indirectly. He must have been extremely a mastermind, but he would still have to show where this money's coming from unless he uses the show to funnel in for money laundering, right? But then he didn't have any money laundering charges.
Some major deals worth hundreds of thousands of dollars were canceled. Private collectors began to fear that items they once scored through Mike could be seized at any moment. Outside, the public began to divide.
Again, this is what I was talking about when things like this all of a sudden happen. These artifacts are now going to be long gone forever. Because these people are going to just go and get rid of them. Like, I'm not getting myself in trouble. I'm never going to get my money back, right? So even if I try to put up for sale, now I will get in trouble for selling these illegal items. So therefore, I have a choice. I can go out and bury it somewhere, or I could just destroy it. So then I'll be the last owner of it. So a lot of things will be destroyed and ruined anyways, because based upon these crazy laws. So you're in a very touchy situation. What do you do?
Loyal fans believed Mike had been made a scapegoat for a system long operating in the shadows of art, commerce, and politics.
Yeah, see, that's what I was just thinking too. Something else is going on. This is way too suspicious. I'm not believing any of this. The sentence is way too high. The evidence is so circumstantial that they're only finding this stuff after he gets convicted. No, come on. This isn't real. This can't be. If it's something at this scale, you would hear about it. There'd be documentaries everywhere about it. People be jumping on this so quick, so fast for those views. Yeah, this can't be real.
On platforms like X and Reddit, detailed analyses of inconsistencies in the investigation emerged, suggesting Mike might have stumbled upon information someone didn't want revealed. One detail that further ignited public debate was the List 17, the document found in Mike's warehouse.
Okay.
Beyond the encoded transactions and artifact symbols, the final page bore a handwritten line: Q7R3 VTI analysts and conspiracy theorists alike rushed to decode it. Some believed it was an abbreviation for a secret organization involved in high-end artifact trafficking, possibly tied to high-ranking religious authorities. A popular theory claimed VATIC referred to the Vatican Intel Corps, an entity never officially acknowledged.
Yeah, see. Yeah, I no longer believe this. I gave this a chance. I really don't believe it. Here, look. Mike Wolfe imprisonment, right? You look this up. Sentence to life. Sentence to life. Mike Wolfe. Sentence to life. Mike Wolfe. Hoax debunked. It's the only one that says it's a debunk, right? Mike Wolfe. Sentence following Frankie's passing. Sentence for the first time since Frankie's death. Come on, Frankie's not dead.
We're outside of
All right, let's see. Pace. Frankie Fritz death. The co-star of his History Channel's American Pictures Vickers died on September 30th, 2024 at the age of 60. Oh my goodness, he did die. His cause of death was revealed to be a late sequela of cerebral infarction. A stroke. Why don't you start out with that and then put the big words? Okay, well, oh, it's complications because his stroke was in 2002. Okay, well, anyways, Mike Wolfe, imprisonment. I'll just put jail. What do you have? American Paris Mike Wolfe is not in jail. No, Mike Wolfe, the host of the reality TV show American Pictures, has not been arrested or sentenced to prison. They claim that he was arrested and sentenced to life in prison for the murder of his former co-star Frankie Fritz or for other crimes is entirely false and has been debunked by multiple fact-checking sources. This rumor is part of a wave of AI-generated content designed to spread sensational and misleading information. Again, AI. This is what it is. Okay. Now everything makes sense. So what I'm thinking is going on is these people are sitting behind a computer screen using AI and picking famous people that are kind of not in the fame line anymore, making up these crazy stories purposely so everybody like me, these idiots, can be clicking on the links and be like, oh, what? I didn't even know. Let's go back. Let's just go back.
ETI analysts.
Oh, well, this one has 204 views. Okay. Oh, scroll up. Right? 2.3 million. This is the one I watched. Right? 12K. 11K. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, see, so. All right, well, there you have it. Mike Wolfe is not in prison. This is just some person coming up with an AI video specifically to get you to click on it, and they can make the revenue in advertisements and start this whole sensational thing. People like this are almost problematic. There was no reason to be doing this or saying this. And another thing you got to think about is Mike Wolfe. What is he going through knowing that all of a sudden you have this information popping up that you're responsible for your friend and your co-star's death and it's posting all over after your show's now gone because you're canceled. I mean, your partner is now gone, so the show would never be the same without him. So I don't know if people really think about the consequences of these kind of actions that have based upon the person that they're talking about, but they're people too. Just because you see them on TV and stuff, they got feelings too. Well, anyways, I hope you enjoyed that. If you want to catch my live stream, you can find me at Lost Among the World on Kick. I normally stream almost on a daily basis. Time is kind of probably around 3 p.m., 2 p.m. Pacific time. I'm in a different country, so putting the times together and stuff. Hopefully, I get you to subscribe and possibly a like. And if you have any suggestions of things you would like me to look over or examine or just talk about or laugh about, go ahead and post them in the comments. All right, I'll catch you on the next one.